I didn't expect my mother to say it that bluntly. We were halfway through dinner when she looked at me and said, "You're not half the woman your sister is." No anger, no emotion, just certainty. My fork stopped midair. My dad kept eating like he hadn't heard it. Across the table, my sister didn't even hide her smile. I felt the old instinct rise, the one that tells you to stay calm, to swallow it, to keep the peace. I didn't. I pushed my chair back and stood up. "Then she can start paying your rent," I said. The words didn't echo. They landed. My dad's fork clattered against his plate. He looked up at my mom, then at me. "Rent?" he asked. "What rent?" My mom's face drained so fast it was almost impressive. Before I tell you what happened next, take a second to hit like, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. And tell me, have you ever been compared to a sibling like that? My name is Lena, and for most of my adult life, I'd been quietly paying for things my parents pretended were handled. Bills that must have slipped. Payments they forgot. A rent check they never mentioned out loud. They'd convinced themselves it wasn't help. It was just normal. That dinner wasn't the moment I snapped. It was the moment I stopped protecting a lie they'd been living inside. And my dad was about to find out exactly how much of their stability had been coming from the daughter they thought was less than. My dad looked between us, confused, like he was waiting for someone to laugh and reset the moment. No one did. "What is she talking about?" he asked again, slower this time. My mom reached for her glass, then stopped halfway. Her hand was shaking. "She's exaggerating," she said quickly. "We don't have rent." I didn't sit back down. "You do," I said. "You just don't call it that." My sister shifted in her seat, suddenly interested in her phone. That told me everything. "For the last 2 years," I continued calm but clear, "I've been sending money every month. Same amount, same date." My dad stared at my mom. "You told me that was savings," he said. She didn't answer him. She looked at me instead. "This is not the time," she snapped. "You're being disrespectful." Disrespectful. For saying the quiet part out loud. "I didn't bring it up," I said. "You did. When you compared me." My dad pushed his chair back now, harder than I had. "You said you were handling things," he said to her. "You said everything was fine." She opened her mouth, closed it. For the first time that night, the hierarchy cracked. Because it's one thing to look down on someone you think is dependent. It's another to realize you've been standing on them without knowing it. I picked up my bag. "I'm done paying," I said, "starting this month." My dad's face went pale. "Wait," he said. "Let's talk about this." I nodded. "We are," I replied, "just not the way you're used to." And that was when they realized the comparison had cost them more than they expected. My mom finally stood up. "Sit down," she said to me. Not asked, ordered. I didn't move. My dad rubbed his face with both hands like he was trying to wake up from something unpleasant. "How much?" he asked quietly. My mom shot him a look, a warning. I answered anyway. "Enough to cover this place," I said. "Every month, for 2 years." The silence after that felt heavy, permanent. My sister laughed once, short and uncomfortable. "You're acting like you own the place." I turned toward her. "No," I said. "I'm acting like I've been paying for it." That shut her up. My dad looked back at my mom. "You said this was handled," he repeated. "You said we were okay." She crossed her arms, defensive now. I didn't think it mattered who paid as long as it was paid. That sentence did it. Not the insult, not the comparison. That. I picked up my phone and opened my banking app. Didn't show it to them. I didn't need to. "I'm stopping," I said. "No more transfers. No more help." My mom's voice sharpened. "You can't just cut us off." I looked at her calmly. "You already decided which daughter mattered," I said. "I'm just adjusting my effort to match that." My dad's chair scraped as he stood. "We need to figure this out," he said. I nodded. "Yes," I replied. "You do." And for the first time in that house, the problem wasn't me being less than. It was them realizing they'd been standing on something they never thought would move. They didn't follow me to the door. That told me everything. My dad stayed standing by the table, staring at the floor like it might explain things to him. My mom sat back down, jaw tight, already switching from panic to control. My sister didn't say a word. She didn't need to. She'd gotten what she wanted for years without lifting a finger. I walked out into the night and sat in my car with the engine off, hands on the steering wheel, breathing slow, not shaking, clear. My phone buzzed before I even left the driveway. A text from my mom. "We'll talk about this tomorrow. You embarrassed us." I didn't reply, because embarrassment wasn't the problem. Exposure was. The next morning, my dad called, not angry, careful. "Your mom didn't tell me," he said. "I swear. I thought we were okay." "I know," I replied. That surprised him. "You know?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "You believed what you were told, just like I believed things would eventually be fair." He went quiet. "We need time," he said finally, "to figure things out." "That's fine," I replied, "but you'll do it without my money." He exhaled slowly. "You're serious." I've never been more serious. After we hung up, I felt something shift for real. Not anger leaving. Responsibility. I wasn't carrying it anymore. They'd built a life assuming I'd always soften the landing, cover the gap, make sure nothing collapsed. Now they had to feel the weight themselves. And that's the moment everything froze. Not because I yelled, not because I demanded anything, because the person they'd always counted on to absorb the cost quietly had finally stepped away. And nothing moves when that happens. It just stops, waiting to see who will pick it up next. The next week was tense. No one said it out loud, but everyone felt it. My mom stopped calling. My sister posted photos like nothing had changed. My dad sent short texts that said a lot without saying anything at all. Then the notice came. Not to me, to them. Late payment. Final warning. My dad called that night. "We need help," he said. No anger now. No authority. Just reality. "I told you," I replied. "I'm not paying anymore." He was quiet for a long time. "She says you're punishing us," he finally said. I smiled, but not happily. "I'm not punishing anyone," I said. "I'm just not covering for her choices. Or yours." That's when his voice changed. Fear replaced confusion. "We could lose the apartment," he said. I leaned back against the counter, calm. "That's something you should talk to your other daughter about," I replied. He didn't argue, because he finally understood what my mother had hidden. The daughter they called less than had been holding everything together. And now that I'd stepped back, they were staring at the real cost of their favoritism. Not emotionally, financially. And there was no one left to pretend didn't matter. They didn't call again for a few days. That scared them more than my refusal. Silence meant I wasn't negotiating. When my mom finally reached out, her voice was different, lower, measured. "You didn't have to take it this far," she said. I almost laughed. This far was just me stopping payments, stopping cover stories, stopping pretending the comparison didn't cost anything. "You told me I wasn't half the woman she is," I replied. "So I stepped back, that's all." She exhaled sharply. "That was just words." "No," I said. "Those were instructions." She didn't respond. Later that night, my sister texted for the first time. "Why are you doing this to us?" "Us." I stared at the message, then typed one sentence. "I'm not doing anything to you. I'm finally doing something for myself." She didn't reply. And that was the moment I knew this wasn't temporary. They weren't waiting for me to calm down. They were realizing I wasn't coming back into the role they'd assigned me. Being less than had always been convenient, until the person you underestimate stops paying the price for it. That's when the system stalls. And everyone who depended on it feels the freeze at once. The emergency didn't resolve itself. It got quieter, more desperate. My dad stopped calling. That meant pride had finally run out of space. A week later, my mom sent a message she clearly rewrote 3 times. "We may need to make some changes." I knew what that meant. Sell things. Downsize. Ask my sister for help. The idea alone probably felt insulting to her. That night, my sister finally called. Not angry, not confident. "You didn't warn us," she said. I kept my voice even. "I did," I replied. "You were sitting right there." She went silent. "You really won't help?" she asked. "No," I said. "But you can." That was the part she hadn't planned for. She'd grown up being protected from consequences. I'd grown up managing them. Now the roles were reversed. The next morning, my mom texted again. "We're figuring it out. No apology. No accountability. Just acceptance." And that's when I felt it fully. Not victory. Relief. Because the moment you stop proving your worth to people who decided you were last, you finally get to see how strong you've been all along. Not half a woman. The one who was carrying everyone else. Things settled after that. Not comfortably, just realistically. My parents adjusted their spending. My sister stopped assuming someone else would step in. No one thanked me. That part didn't surprise me. What surprised me was how light everything felt once I wasn't involved. No late night calls. No quiet transfers. No pressure to fix what I didn't break. My mom tried once more, weeks later. Not for money, for reassurance. "You know we still love you," she said. I believed her. But love without respect had already cost me enough. "I know," I replied, "and I still mean what I said." She didn't argue, because by then the system had changed. They'd learned how to move without leaning on me, and I'd learned how much of my strength had been invisible to them until it was gone. Being less stopped hurting once I stopped trying to move up. I didn't need to prove anything anymore. Not to them. Not to my sister. Not to myself. The comparison that was meant to shrink me ended up doing the opposite. It showed me exactly how capable I'd always been. And once you see that clearly, you don't go back to carrying people who never saw you as equal in the first place. I still think about that sentence sometimes. You're not half the woman your sister is. Not because it hurts anymore, because of what it revealed. They didn't see my work, my stability, my sacrifice. They saw availability. And when I removed that, everything shifted. My parents don't compare us now. Not out loud. My sister doesn't smirk anymore. She doesn't need to. She's busy dealing with things I used to handle quietly. No one apologized. I didn't expect them to. Accountability was never the point. Clarity was. I learned that being last only works when you keep showing up like you're first in line to give. Once you stop, people are forced to live with the order they created. I didn't win anything dramatic. No apologies. No praise. I gained something better. Freedom from a role I never agreed to play. The daughter who paid. The backup plan. The invisible support beam. They told me who mattered more. I listened. And once I did, my life stopped revolving around their emergencies and started moving forward on my terms. Not loudly. Not angrily. Just finally. Honestly. If you've ever been made to feel less than while holding everything together, remember this. The moment you stop paying the price for disrespect, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. And that's when real change begins. I didn't cut my family off. I just stopped subsidizing a lie. The lie that my sister was stronger. The lie that I was less than. The lie that things worked without me. They still talk. We still see each other. But the dynamic is gone. No more comparisons. No more assumptions. No more quiet expectations that I'll step in when things get hard. They learned something they can't unlearn now. The daughter they underestimated was the one holding the structure together. And once she stepped away, nothing collapsed dramatically. It just revealed how fragile everything had been. I don't argue about the past anymore. I don't bring up the money. I don't ask for acknowledgement. I don't need it. Because I finally understand this. You don't prove your worth to people who benefit from ignoring it. You show them by withdrawing access. They told me I was last. I believed them. And once I stopped acting like I was first in line to save them, my life got quieter, lighter, and unmistakably mine. Not half a woman. The one who walked away intact and never picked the weight back up again.